Bunch of demons. Shalom, Yashar Allah. First and foremost, I'd like to give all glory, honor, and infinite praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Chadash, double honors to beloved elders and the apostles at Great Millstone that taught me this truth. While peace and salutations to all you hopeful that document out there laboring, that are pushing this word in truth and in sincerity. This is your brother Amar from the GMS Boise, Idaho camp, and I'm doing this on a quick news update on a law that was passed today in Massachusetts, which we know is Boston. You know, you have Salem. You have a lot of witchcraft center points of Esau's, left-handed magic going on. And what I mean by that is, Massachusetts, if you know the history of the state, has a long history of wickedness being practiced there. Let's just say that, And so that's in the East Coast. And again, look at the wicked practices that have been recorded in Massachusetts. There's a lot of weird stuff that has a history of coming out of there. And this is just one of the latest and greatest. And which is allowing these women, these beasts, to allow themselves to unalive their own children up until the very day of conception. This is Democrat Governor Maura Haley. Maura Haley just signed a bill allowing for unaliving up to day of birth in the state of Massachusetts. So let's say the day of, your water broke and you say, you know what, I'm not ready for this. Just take it out of me, it's a 8th month and baby daddy is giving you a headache and you decided to get back at him and you say, you know what, I'm in the state to do it. And you freaking unalive your whole child. That's why, hey man, these women, wicked. The wine is wicked, the king is wicked, and women are wicked, man. Like the scriptures say, and that's this society that we live in, from the governing, from the so-called relief that we get in the society, which should be, the woman. This is the type of main mentality. You talk a woman, tell a woman to subject themselves to a man, or that that's not their child just because it's growing in them. That's the man's seed, because a woman's womb produces death every month unless a man puts life into it. But a man's nuts can retain the billions of, so I guess you could say human beings, man, entities that could repopulate, a whole planet for the amount of number that's in a man's scrotum. Let's just say that, man, But you have these women in authority making these decisions, and this is the product of women in rulership, wickedness, and that's why it says, and I'm going to get to it in Ecclesiastes. But the first scripture that I want to get is in Leviticus 18 and 21. This is Leviticus 18 and 21 because this is written in our law that an Israelite would not and will not. And it is death unto this person if they cause their children to do this. Or if they cause themselves to use their children to do this in a way to try to gain in the world, try to elevate themselves, because that's why they would sacrifice in the ancient world, to get, something in return. But this is Leviticus 18 and 21. And thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire of Moloch, neither shalt thou profane the name of thy power. I am the Lord Yahweh. So you're profaning the Lord by, putting your child into Planned Parenthood, getting their little baby body parts taken out by these hard clasps with teeth on them, ripping them out one by one, going through your wahoo right there between your legs, man. And you think that that's uplifting because you decided that it's going to be a big burden, a big responsibility. So just rip them up in little pieces. You think that's the better route? That's why And I went to the AI overview of Leviticus 18 and 21. I was going to go through straight to the Strong's definition, but it came up with the definition that I was looking for, but it was actually, a little bit better description and to the point of Leviticus 18 and 21. But when it says, pass through the fire, let any of thy seed, and thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire, Moloch, in Leviticus 18 and 21, that saying pass through the fire is a bar, Strong's H5674 and H plus H784, which is a combined, you'll go find it in the blue letter, which I just looked it up to confirm. But this relates to the ritual practice of child sacrifice or dedication rites associated with the Ammonite god. And then you see the word Moloch, which is Strong's H4445, the Canaanite / Ammonite deity associated with sacrificial offerings. And then profane, which is Strong's H2490, to pollute, defile, or treat as common and desecrate the holiness of Yahweh's name. So as you can see, that this isn't just something that you're doing because murder is wrong. Killing is, lawful in certain things in the Bible, because the Lord, example, when he told us to go into Jericho, he said, lay everything down. Don't even save the livestock. That's part of the reason why Saul got judged, because he didn't unalive the sheep, and he took prisoners when Samuel told him to unalive everything when he went into that Amalekite village. So what it does is you allow your seed to pass through the fire of Moloch, and you profane Yahweh Bashem Yahushai's name. And to add to that, the type of people that you see in government are these damn women, man. These damn women don't need to be governing shit except the damn kitchen or the children running around with snotty nose and dirty diapers, man. But to have a woman in position of authority over a man, hell no. This is Ecclesiastes. I'm going to go to it, Salakia 7 and 28. This is written by King Solomon, which we know has had plenty of experience with understanding the psyche of men and women. And this is what he wrote about it. This is Ecclesiastes 7 and 28. Which yet my soul seeketh, but I find not. One man among 1,000 have I found, but a woman among all those have I not found. But a woman among all those have I not found. So of 1,000 men that he looked for, trying to find how many righteous men there were, of 1,000 men that he asked, he found one that was righteous. And of all the women, which would be, in my guess, probably 1,000 women that he went and, let's say, interviewed, he said he didn't find a single woman that was righteous, in this sense and according to the law, which none of us are perfect. But this is not deviating from the subject that this is the product that you get from women leading in disorderly conduct, man. Passing these atrocious laws against their own people. Like, who do you think? And this is an attack on you tribes, because they know that you tribes are the majority. Again, their babies unalived in these clinics. But as well as, you're in Massachusetts, man. There's a lot of Edomites over there too. Y'all generation, and y'all, Salakia, not generation, y'all, whole peoples is in a lower number. So you're passing these laws trying to attack Jake. But Jake don't die. We multiply, man. But Esau got a problem with not being a mole, not being a lady boy. He got a problem with even dealing with the woman that he has, because maybe he's a weirdo and into something else. That's what Esau got. So these laws are, again, just affecting him. Because Jake, yes, they are the brunt of the victims of it. But ultimately, in the scheme of thing, all it's doing is just adding a receipt to why this devil has to be taken down. And I had a few other scriptures, but oh man, what was that one I was thinking of? I should have written it down. But But, you can see the fact that this man's rulership is completely, disgusting. And the fact that we have to deal with it. And to this day, we have to argue with people about why it's bad to unalive an infant that is not even able to defend itself, being nurtured in a woman's stomach perfectly fine, to be, you know, attacked before they even see the light of day, man. It's wicked. And not to say this is a very ancient custom. And that's actually part of the title that I wanted to label this lesson was ancient customs are still being practiced, to this day, because just because it's happening in a clinic, in a cotton swabbed, perfectly surgically clean environment, and they give you a matching gown and paperwork to sign, doesn't mean that you're not participating in a very satanic ritual when you go and do these things, So as you can see, the effects of our people going upon these things, they say how many, let's look it up real quick and then I'm going to close this lesson. How many unalivings per race happen in USA? Blah, blah, blah. It says, according to the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, this is AI overview in Google, it says black patients account for about 40% of all reported legal unalivings in the U.S. White patients make up 32%, Hispanic patients comprise 21%, and other groups represent 7%. So, as you can see, based on national reporting data from state health agency, black women lead. No surprise there. You got Eve at the forefront, outdoing the next devil, the so-called white woman right behind her, man. So they account for just the black and white woman alone, so-called. And we gonna call these women black women because that's exactly what they are. They don't get the title of Judite woman until they're in the kingdom, man, because these are demons we're dealing with, man. Black women and white women, which don't even exist, make up 72%. 72% of all abortions. And then you got Maria over there trying to be like Laquita and Becky because they account for 21% of it. So the majority are the tribes, man. The majority, 61% of the unaliving of babies happen between the northern and southern kingdom. So if you don't think that this is something that needs to catch your attention, man, hey, man, well, as we can see that this is just all, stacking up the receipts, and this is all according to prophecy based on Esau Edom exposing himself and plainly revealing who are the sons of the righteous and who are the sons of the wicked, because who has the power to pass these laws and who has the power to allow these things to happen. That's the one and only Esau Edom, man. The devil, Satan, your adversary, you're the deceiver that is going against you and everything that you call holy and righteous. Hey, and that's that, man. Whether you can accept it or not, ancient customs are being practiced to this day. And Lord willing, that this lesson was edifying unto the elect. Till next time, I would like to give all glory, honor, and infinite praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Chodash, and double honors to beloved elders and the apostles of Great Millstone that taught me this truth. While peace and salutations to all you hopefully like Akim out there laboring that are pushing this word in truth and in sincerity. Till next time, Lord willing, Shalom.